Stop it, because you're making me laugh.
Is it episode? I think episode 4. Okay.
12. Yeah. Say 12.
Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Indies in Depth, the podcast taking a behind-the-scenes look at the indie game industry with the people who work in it. And I'm also joined with my lovely friend, Vicky. Vicky, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you very much. Vicky is a big a veg game player, indie game player. She loves a lot of the games I love. She's been on my stream a couple of times on Twitch playing such games. We just played the Crimson Diamond, didn't we?
We did, and we enjoyed it. It was fab.
It was great. We loved it. And Vicky was enjoying my stream of the game that we're going to be talking about with the developer who made it in this episode, which was Hollowbody. And Nathan Hamley. And it's kind of like a sort of survival horror game, which I love. I didn't realise, Vicky, you love quite a lot as well. You seem to, like, in that chat, know your horror stuff.
Know my survival horror?
Yeah.
I do, and I've played most, if not all, of the Silent Hills. Probably not to completion, but I've definitely experienced them. But Resident Evil, I've only played 4, but I did finish it. So
is that because is it because Resident Evil's a bit more just straight action than Silent Hill seems to be more puzzly?
I think what I like most about Silent Hill is the story, and I think a lot of people do. Whereas, I'm not saying that Resident Evil doesn't have a story. I just think there's a lot of strength in Silent Hill's universe and world and all that. But I mean, I'm very proud that I finished Resident Evil 4.
Did you? The original?
I did. Yeah. I'm really proud of myself.
Well done.
It was really hard.
Did you like it? What did you think of it?
I did really enjoy it. I thought that was great, the characters in that. But Leon's a choice. But I really, really did enjoy it. And it made me think when I finished it, when you finish a game, you're like, oh, I want to consume everything else that's to do with this media. I tried, I think, Resident Evil 1, I was like, no.
Well, it's so different. It's so I do, because I played Resident Evil 4 when it came out. I'm not sure when that was actually, but yeah,
some years ago.
Years ago, and that was my first. I think one of my first survival horror experiences. Although I will say, I actually did play Resident Evil 1, except it was in the children's play area of a brewer's fair. Which they really should not have been. You know, like sometimes they had like PlayStations and stuff that kids could play. Someone had put on Resident Evil 1 for children to play of any age. And I really don't think they should have done that. But I did play a bit of Resident Evil. But my first full playthrough was 4.
So like Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah. And then
Resident Evil.
I suppose
what, you're going to put your token in, I guess.
I guess like... those games now aren't actually that scary, I have to say. Like, I don't know. Well, the first one, I mean. The dogs, actually, yeah.
Goodness me.
That's true. I forget about the dogs.
I think my PlayStation went through the roof when that happened.
But, I mean, Resident Evil 4 is because it's got the graphics and it's, you know, they've really amped it up. But
yeah, they did.
I do remember playing that and being like, wow. And I also had the little walkthrough, the printed walkthrough. The Prima guide.
Oh, I loved a Prima guide.
I know, man.
Do they still make them?
I think they do, but only for very specific games.
I'm sure I had Prima guide for Fallout 3.
Did you? I think I might have, you know. I had one for Bloodborne.
Skyrim, maybe. I've definitely got I've definitely got an Elder Scrolls companion book of some kind that told you all the quests and whatever.
I had one for Escape from Monkey Island as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I think I brought it into school once. What was I thinking? What on earth? I don't think anyone
Bring back Prima guides.
If anyone's got Prima guides, let us know like which ones you've got, because I guess, do you know what I was thinking the other day actually? Because I've just been playing this on stream, this game Lifeline, this voice activated video game. And my God, it's so confusing what you're supposed to be doing half the time. But I was just thinking, because I was looking through this game FAQ, again, what an institution.
What an institution.
Who has the time to be making these FAQs? Like, they're so detailed.
It's
and
insane.
I was just thinking, the person who's done this, I don't think they get anything. What do they... Are people getting paid to do it? They're not, are they?
No, I suppose your name's on the the write-up or whatever, but
the amount of work that goes into it.
Do you know what's the best hint system?
Go on.
UHS, Universal Hint System, where you're not shown the spoiler straight away. You can click on different lines and it gives you a little clue. Oh my goodness, what a
chef's kiss.
What a great idea that is.
I agree. Again,
who's making those?
Who's making those?
Who's making those? And they're like, okay, let me just think in the mind of a player who doesn't know what they're doing and has to think of the next clue. Because I'd just give him the solution. I couldn't be writing a 10-step
because it is quite... I mean, I suppose that's what in-game stuff has to do quite a lot. Like with Broken Sword, it was very much like bit by bit by bit because they don't want to just spell it out to you. But I just you know, because the detail they're going through in these FAQs is astounding. It's not just like the walkthrough. There's all the bits in beforehand, the hints, the tips, like here are all these items you might pick up. Here's everything. It must take months and months.
If you dedicate yourself to a game, for example, people who really enjoy Elden Ring or who really enjoy, you know, any game, I guess, but particularly those big games, they know so much that it's probably quite easy to just be like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. Like, I would imagine that people who are really dedicated to certain titles, it's a breeze. Like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't write it.
But it's for me, it's just the written word and how much. I mean, maybe it's. This is the thing. I suppose we've sort of transformed that into YouTube stuff now because there are so many YouTube how to do this. Like with Elden Ring, I would just be like, how to find specific weapon, and there'd be like a 3-minute YouTube video that would just show me everything I had to do, and I'd be like, double speed, quick, get me to that spot. And I guess that's what people do now, but I feel like that's easier than writing out like I don't know, 200, 300 page FAQ. I don't know.
Like you say, with GameSpot in particular, because I know I've used that website many a time in many a year, and some of the games I've played have been incredibly long games, I suppose, like adventure games and things like that. So it isn't just a simple like chapter 1 and this is the paragraph, or chapter 2 this is the paragraph. You've got literal reams of information, and then do this, and then do this, and then do this. Like you're saying, like with Broken Sword, you've got 10 actions to take before you even unlock a certain action to move on to the second part, and that's not the chapter, that's just one single puzzle. Somebody's got to be getting paid for this.
I hope so, but I don't think they do. If you've ever written a game FAQ, let us know. And did you get out of it? I mean, I know some of them are highly rated, but imagine if you went to all that effort and it wasn't even looked at, or I don't know.
Oh, you'd be upset, wouldn't you?
It's for your own satisfaction, I guess. And then also you've got to make sure it's completely accurate, because that's the thing. That's what people are relying on, isn't it?
Imagine if you got a thing wrong, or you missed a certain puzzle, or you soft locked someone, or dead ended someone.
Awful. People are relying
worth
on
it.
Are there people who check the walkthroughs to make sure they're actually accurate before they go up? We need to know about this industry.
Do you think we could find this out?
I think we need to maybe look into this. I think I need to episode, but
email Mr. GameSpot.
I'd love to know if anyone's got any more information on this. It's probably not that
it's not that deep, is it?
No, it's not that deep. No, we're not going down the rabbit hole here, but I just don't know about it basically. So I'd be.
Are you employed by GameSpot? Let us know.
But it's not just GameSpot that do the. I'm thinking of the game FAQs, like the main. They're the ones that you had all the big and all that what's it called, ASCII art and all that stuff.
That's right. Oh yeah, that was in GameSpot.
Again, someone would take a long time just making that.
They would, and they'd make little avatar things and pictures, and that's a lot of work, in it.
It is, but
was it a different time?
I think so, but the thing is, I think still people do it. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's not a thing. Anyway, let us know if you've ever made one, and what was the response? How long did it take you? All that kind of stuff. As we go on to our chat with Nathan. Right, so let's bring on Nathan Hamley, aka Nath, of course, the developer behind Hollowbody, which is a tech noir survival horror game set in Britain. It's a game I streamed recently, and Vicky's here with me. She was watching me stream it, and she's got some excellent questions, I'm sure, for Nathan, as do I promise. Hello, Nathan. How are you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks. Yeah, pretty good. Game's done,
Yeah.
basically. So
Yay.
yeah, good times.
I know. Yeah. That. What do you do in that kind of period after? Then obviously it's a lot of kind of bug fixing, listening to what people are saying. You know, just does it feel a bit weird that the main element of the game is done?
Yeah, it's super weird, especially with the like longer game projects because you've been so into it. And when I work on games, I don't really share the game with too many people. You're
Right.
supposed to, but I like to keep it to myself because I overthink criticism. So yeah, there's like definitely a lot of pressure leading up to release, and then you release, and it's sort of, I don't want to say anticlimactic because that sounds like I don't appreciate like all of the attention and stuff it gets, but it's never going to be like as much of a monumental thing as you think it is. And then you realize, yeah, loads of bugs, stuff you want to fix. It's not perfect. It probably won't ever be perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird feeling. I've just been working on like an update basically since launch. I did a bunch of bug fixes, and then yeah, I've got an update coming out this week which adds some stuff as well.
So I guess let's go back to the beginning and where did the idea for Hollowbody come from? Because it's not the first game you've made. You also made Chasing Static as well.
Yep. Where did the idea come from? I kind of
I suppose maybe we should say what the idea is, because we're assuming everybody knows, just because in our sphere we know. But I guess maybe tell us a little bit about what that idea is and then where that came from.
Sure, yeah. So Hollowbody is a survival horror game that's kind of a throwback to sort of the PS2 golden era of survival horror games, stuff like Silent Hill and Resident Evil. But it's set in a sort of dystopian sci-fi near future setting, kind of like a weird alternate reality. And yeah, the game is it's a horror game. It's primarily set in like an abandoned British city because I really wanted to sort of ground it in something familiar, especially for myself because I live in the UK. But also kind of a lot of sci-fi is really sort of high tech. And can be a little harder to sell horror in a sci-fi setting because it's not that familiar. So that was something that was kind of at the back of my mind when I was designing it. And yeah, for a long time I'd wanted to make a survival horror game. They seem quite simple to make at first sort of glance, but it's hard for me. I'm an artist, not a programmer really.
Okay.
And for some reason I try to do everything myself. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges with that. So I kind of made some games beforehand. Chasing Static, which was like a walking simulator, so to speak, with some puzzles as well. And that was more of a sort of atmospheric psychological horror thing set in Wales. And actually before that I made a point and click adventure game called Guard Duty, which was a fantasy sci-fi hybrid. That took me forever. That was like 8 years of development whilst I was learning to make games and stuff. So yeah, I've gone backwards there, but yeah, it was kind of, Hollowbody was like the next step for me in sort of getting to the point where I wanted to be as a developer, and having the skills to sort of execute on that idea. That's sort of how it wound up coming about.
So based on that, I just wanted to, so you've just said that you're an artist and you are obviously trying to learn to develop and all the rest of it back in the past. So I've had this crazy idea that I wanted to make a game, but I'm not technical at any point. I'm just crazy. But I've had this idea for a game for a long time, or a screenplay or something of the, like, with the view to move it into a game or something like that.
Yeah.
So recently Cressup had John Ingold on the stream here, and he spoke about his creative writing process, which sounded chaotic.
It did.
So I think for me, and what I wanted to ask, because I'm more the creative writer side rather than the game designer side, Like, where do you start with that? Like, did you have the ending in mind, for example? No spoilers, but did you have the ending in mind and sort of worked backwards? Because that's kind of where I'm at right now, because it all
Yeah.
seems very overwhelming. So for me personally, that'd be really helpful. Thank you.
That's all right. Yeah, certainly not an expert on it at all. I pretty much sort of fumble my way through most of this stuff, but I think it helps to have an ending in mind. I think that's actually like a really decent bit of advice for writing narrative stuff in general, because then you can foreshadow that ending whilst you're writing the stuff that comes before it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have to have it locked down completely, because like whether it's writing a screenplay or writing a game design document or writing a book or something, your ideas is going to change as you go through the process of writing it. But yeah, having an idea of your destination before you set sail, or before you leave on your journey of writing or game development, whatever it may be, is definitely a good idea. And like, in regards to potentially moving into like game development or something, I think there's a lot of ways to get into that without having to get bogged down by all of the technical programmery stuff. Like, there's game engines just for making visual novels. You can make like Game Boy games in Game Boy Studio, or you can sort of venture into larger game engines that have stuff like visual scripting, which is, for me, I use a lot of visual scripting, which is basically, to boil it down, you can program stuff without having to learn like all the particulars of the language. So you're not sort of constantly trying to think of, oh, what was that bit of code that does X and Y, and then trying to work out how to type it and get it to come up in your code editor. You can like drag in a bit of pre-compiled code that you link up to other things. So for like me, from an artist point of view, it's a lot easier for my brain to deal with that. But also, I think, yeah, like one of the key aspects of getting into game development is to start quite small and sort of set your expectations quite low in regards to just not pushing yourself too much. Like Hollowbody, I probably pushed myself a little bit too much on that game. And whilst the game, I'm proud of it, and it did really well compared to my other games, especially. It shows a little bit. There's like some rough edges and stuff, and kind of maybe it's part of the charm. But personally, when I look at it, I can see like all of the flaws in it that
Oh
are
God.
too much work at this point to fix. Because with games, you basically make something and then you add something else on and add something else on, and by the time you get towards the end to try and fix that thing you added at the start, it's just got this like layers and layers of crap on top of it that you have to get through to fix it. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of the approach I tend to give people. Simplify and look into like some of these more specific softwares and stuff.
Thanks.
Did you ever think then of getting a programmer to like work alongside you, saying that you're more an artist, or what made you decide to go the mainly solo dev route?
Yeah, I actually, for GuardDuty, my first game, a good friend of mine, Andy, came on board and helped program some of the more technical stuff. I was using a software called AGS, or
Yes.
Adventure Game Studio, which
Yes.
you're probably familiar with. Loads of great adventure games use it. All of Francisco's games are made in it, and they're really fantastic. Yeah, so he came in and helped me with stuff like, he had quite fancy text boxes, like speech bubbles and stuff, that sort of positioned next to characters' heads and had like a little tail, like in a comic book. And he helped me make the inventory system and how that worked. And then I was able to kind of do the actual like implementation of the puzzles and like adding all the laborious tasks. So he helped me with that, which was awesome and a great experience. Really enjoyed it. But then sort of moving forward, I wanted to jump over to Unity. And Unity has some visual scripting stuff, which AGS does not. AGS is just text-based coding. And yeah, I kind of enjoy the process of programming things, even though I'm like tearing my hair out half the time. But I do enjoy it. And as a solo dev, doing it full time, it's quite nice to be able to skip between disciplines. So if I get like really fed up with doing modeling or texturing or something, I can sort of take a few hours out, do a bit of coding, and then jump back, maybe do a bit of music or sound design.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's probably smart for me to get someone on board to help me out. But I think I'm still finding the perfect workflow for myself, and I think I want to kind of nail that down. So scope is one thing that I need to keep in check for the next game. Just like rein back my ideas, make sure I don't go too crazy with it.
No, bigger ideas, more.
Yeah, or just go mental.
Either or.
That's an option. It's tempting, I must say.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You're right.
I just have a quick question about speaking of people who stream the game, for example, somebody beside of me. Have you or do you intend on watching anybody's playthroughs of the game? So like on YouTube or Twitch, like is that something that you want to do or have done, or is that like an absolute no? Like I don't want to see it. I'm fine. I'm happy with the product I've shipped. I know there's some stuff to fix, and I don't need to see this.
Yeah,
because I know which camp I would be in. I'll be honest.
It's really weird, right? Because it's awkward watching people play your game, especially adventure games. It's really bad because they'll get stuck on a puzzle, and you just want to jump in and say like, "Do this."
People do.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, just got like even people unrelated to the development, and just sort of in your chat, I'd imagine saying, do this.
Yeah,
it's hard not to do that, and sometimes you see that as like a failure on your behalf, or like signposting for the puzzle or what it might be. So yeah, when it comes out, I watch some videos. I won't watch like the whole video of the game. I'll like skip to a few bits, get a general idea, and then normally skip right to the end and see like because typically people tend to just comment on it over the credits or whatever and say, I like this bit, I didn't like that bit. So I do that so I can take on board some of the feedback and sort of reflect on what worked for them, what didn't work for them.
I mean, I saw quite a few content creators covering it anyway, but specifically YouTube content creators with huge platforms, and I was like, yes, this is great. Like it's always nice to have eyes on it, but I just know if I made a game, I don't think I would want to go into anybody's stream. I'd just be like, no, thank you. That's fine, enjoy. So I was just curious, really, because when we played Crimson Diamond on Cressa's Twitch stream, Julia Minamata actually came in and watched us play, and we were like, oh no. But it was great, and she had fun, and it was brilliant. But I never think of that side of being like actually somebody playing your game and potentially, for whatever reason, liking it, unlike it. I just was so curious into whether or not that was something that you spent your energy on, if I can be honest.
Yeah, I mean, for Twitch, I did a little bit of it around launch, just sort of popped in, said hi, 5 minutes, and then sort of like lurked without chatting in the background.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the thing you say about like Julia joining your stream, I sort of do worry that like whoever's streaming it are going to feel self-conscious that the developers like watching and stuff, and maybe earlier in the stream they were saying how bad the game was, and then suddenly like the devs
you've never had that experience, Vicky.
Something similar happened, but yeah,
not with the Crimson Diamond. So we actually
not with the Crimson Diamond. No, that was all great.
On the flip side of that, I felt that sometimes as someone, like if I go to these games conventions and I'm like trying out the game and the developer is behind me, and if you're just maybe a bit tired and you don't know what you're doing, and you can feel this developer watching you behind your shoulder, like hoping that you get it, and you kind of want to say it's not probably not the game. I'm just really tired and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to focus on games when you're in like a convention and stuff, right? There's like so much stuff going on. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I know that when I release the game, a lot of people are going to play it, and it's kind of not my game anymore at that point. It's like something for everyone to experience. It'll work for some people, it won't work for other people. So yeah, no hard feelings if any Twitch streamers or anything don't enjoy it. Like, that's fair play. It's
just to point out. Also, I did enjoy Hollowbody.
We did, and chat did as well. We did. Yeah,
just in case that was like it sounded like a weird snip. Like, well, some games we've not enjoyed. It's like, no, actually, I did enjoy it.
No, we did enjoy it.
I guess talking about Vicky was sort of alluding there. There was like lots of big creators playing this game. Hollowbody got quite a lot of buzz around it. How do you think that kind of came about? Was there one particular thing you think you did that sort of pushed it out there more than previous games, or was it just that people really liked the idea of it and latched onto it?
It's hard to say, really. I think horror games.
Yeah, if you knew, you'd just bottled that and
yeah. If you'd seen it pop up on your Steam or wishlist, you'd be like, "Yep,
yeah,
that's for me."
Yeah, it's quite a decent community around horror games. They're like it's a niche, I suppose, but it's a very big niche. And there's a lot of support for indie developers in the horror scene. I think because AAA games kind of abandoned horror for a while, like maybe sort of 5-10 years ago, there was like a real slump. And indie horror kind of came to a bit more of a resurgence through that, with a lot of streamers and YouTubers doing like let's plays of indie horror games. So there's definitely like a fan base there, and I kind of try to just ingrain myself into that on like Twitter and other platforms and stuff like Discord, chatting to other indie devs that do horror and stuff. So it was basically working on the game and sort of trying to really get involved with that at the same time. Doing a lot of posts on Twitter, loads of self-promo, shameless amounts of self-promo.
It's not shameless though.
It's not, no.
I think this is a problem that especially solo devs have, that like they feel a bit like, oh, I shouldn't be promoting it too much. But the amount of people that end up seeing it, you just have to. You just got to be, you've got to keep going for it.
Yeah, I keep telling people that. Like, they ask me for advice on it, and I say, just like, you see my tweets, but you only see them because I'm doing the same thing, like reposting it, or doing a similar tweet 3-4 times a day, just like hammering it out there, because people check their phones at different times, they check Twitter at different times, and you got that man baby kind of destroying the website at the moment and killing off any sort of exposure on it. So yeah, you've really got to work it and just constantly try and get people to get interested in it and wishlist the game and stuff.
Well, it worked.
It did. Yeah.
And I think for me, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I should say I also had the help of a guy called Tom Copland from Strange Signals, who did PR for the launch of the game. So shout out to Strange Signals PR. He did a fantastic job of like the media outreach and getting websites to review it, and getting YouTubers to play it and stuff. So yeah, he was a great help as
well. Which leads me into asking, because your game is reminiscent of the PS2 era graphics.
Yeah.
And there's been a very popular remake of a game which came out in PS2. And my question to you is, are you, Nathan, personally a fan of fixed camera angles? That is my actual question. And other aspects of the PS2 era, tank controls, etc., etc. Are those games that you enjoy playing? Is my question.
Yes, I do. I think there's an art to sort of pulling it off well. It's really hard to do. Like, I didn't really nail it with Hollowbody. I tried to, like, sort of went into it really confidently, like, haha, I can do this. I'm going to make the best fixed camera-ish game ever. And yeah, it's really tricky. So there's the usual issues of like switching camera angles and the player's controls feeling like they're reversed because they're suddenly facing a different direction, which tank controls kind of fix that problem. But then like 90% of modern gamers don't want to use tank controls. I don't blame them, to be honest. So yeah, I like them. And I think that we've definitely lost one of our tools in our toolbox as toolbox. Oh. That's the one. We've lost one of our tools as like storytellers in the artistic medium of games by sort of defaulting to just always having an over-the-shoulder third-person camera for 3D games. That doesn't mean I hate that camera style. Like, I really like exploring environments and looking at all the details, and I like that you can control where you look. But there's I don't know, like film, for example, is like cinematography is the art of camera angles, right? It's like a huge, like probably one of the most important tools in filmmaking, and video games have spent years and years sort of trying to chase after the prestige of film, whether it be with better graphics or like more quality voice acting and all these different aspects, and yet they just kind of seem to have thrown that like one main tool out the window and just been like, no, we'll always have a shot of the back of the character. You're always looking at the back of their head. They're always going to take up 30% of the screen real estate, and that's just how it is. I think that's sad. So yeah, I really like stuff like cinematic platformers, like Inside and
Oh yeah, so good.
those, yeah, those kind of games. Like because they control really well because the camera isn't like fully like Resident Evil style, but they also have like a lot more authorship over where the camera's looking and designing environments and scenes. It's a bit closer to like 2D artwork, like adventure games and stuff, because you always know where the camera's pointing.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to those games as well. But yeah, I think there's room for all styles of cameras. I wouldn't want to play something like Elden Ring or Dark Souls with fixed camera angles. I think that would
God,
be
no. The
awful.
camera is already a problem in those games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's always like, I don't know, there's a giant monster blocking your view and you can't see where you're going. But yeah, I do. I love fixed camera angles, and I think I'll always be trying to find a way to kind of take them, modernize them, and somehow mix that with like a more modern camera system. Maybe at some point I'll figure it out, but I'm sure like, there's dev teams with hundreds of people who haven't quite figured it out. So maybe I'm being a bit egotistic to think I could do that. But yeah, the Silent Hill 2 remake I really enjoyed. It did feel a bit claustrophobic having the camera so close behind the character for the whole time. But yeah, it's cool. Good approach to it.
I wanted to know as well what made you decide to set this in Britain, because that's felt quite unusual. I couldn't think of too many other, maybe horror games at least, that came to mind that have been. And we have sort of been seeing more recently more kind of regional British games that are obviously very different to your game, but thank goodness you're here with like more of a kind of comedy approach to it. But yeah, just what made you decide to keep it close to home?
Yeah, I guess kind of for those reasons, because it's not done much. I mean, I really like a lot of film. A lot of my favorite films are actually set in America, like crime thrillers and stuff. There's a vibe to sort of stuff that's set in America, and it would be tempting to do a game. It'd definitely be easier to find voice actors that sort of fit the characters you're looking for if like they were all Americans, because there's like it's a much bigger place, a lot more choices. But I kind of feel as like a British guy, I don't really know American culture and stuff well enough to kind of set a game over there. And also it seems like silly to do that when I've got all this inspiration on my doorstep.
That's true.
There's a rich vein of British horror as well, and quite sort of weird horror films.
It's very eerie, isn't it? Sometimes, like you see a post box or a telephone box, and you're like, oh no, I don't like it here.
Vicky's biases against telephone boxes.
I remember seeing something like that in what is it called? Everybody's Gone to the Rapture or whatever. That game. And that's set in England, and you walk in and it's like a nice village, and you see a telephone box, and you're like, oh no, this feels weird. It feels too close to home, I guess, for us personally as Brits. Yeah,
it's great though. I've had like a lot of people sort of comment on that and say it's so good to play a place that feels familiar where I grew up,
definitely
where I live.
So
it's cool. Yeah, everybody's really gone to the Rapture. So I really like all of the Chinese rooms games. I played that whilst I was making Chasing Static, which is like a first-person game set in a Welsh village. So it was kind of, whilst I was making Chasing Static, I thought, oh crap, these guys have done it so much better than me. It worked out all right in the end. No one actually made the connection, really, which is strange. But
apart from Vicky right there. Well, not really, but yeah.
Well, kind of, sort of, in a fashion. Oh, it's a great game. I think there's something very scary about British horror games, I'll be honest.
Yeah. I think there should be more of them, actually. Yeah.
I think Hollowbody would hit different from me if it was in America.
Yeah, completely.
But that's me as a British person.
Yeah, I think like I also wanted to stand out from Silent Hill, because I was quite clearly taking a lot of influence from Silent Hill in sort of the mood and the camera and combat and stuff. And so I made it sci-fi and I made it British, and I thought that would be enough, but it wasn't.
No.
Everyone's still like, they're either like, oh, it's great, it reminds me of Silent Hill, or oh, it's just a knockoff Silent Hill, it's just a cheap version of Silent Hill. It's like, god damn it.
Speaking of combat, as you've just mentioned, My next question is, did you think the stomp mechanic would be as popular as it is with a particular streamer I can think of? But did you think that would be as popular as it was?
I played nearly the whole of Hollowbody stomping and hitting people with
it
a
was
guitar.
so funny.
Perfect. The way it's meant to be played, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, it's quite a last minute addition. I mean, so I realized once the enemies can be knocked on the ground, suddenly you need a way of kind of dealing with them, which isn't using a pistol. And honestly, like to try and animate all of the melee weapons with an extra ground attack is beyond me. Most of the animations in the game are taken from an animation library called Mixamo, which a lot of 3D developers use. It's basically something that got bought out by Adobe a few years ago, and they released this massive library of 3D animations for free, and then you can sort of apply them to your character. So most of the melee weapon animations are like medieval greatsword animation that I've like, modified a little bit to work with a guitar or something. So I had kind of based the weapons around what animations I had, and none of them had one for attacking something on the floor. So I found a stomp animation that was pretty cool. It's quite aggressive. I like it.
Someone really liked it, is what I can say.
Yeah, I might have played it. I might have played it whilst also playing. Is it Simple Minds or that? What's that song? Shout.
Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears. Let it all out.
And also
it really...
Steps.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we did do the Steps stomp song as well. But yeah.
Perfect.
I'm sure that's what you had in mind.
I thought it was great. And the guitar was fantastic. I thought that was great. Really good.
Yes, I've got to ask you about that actually. Are you a Sonic Youth fan by any chance? Or
Yeah. How did you guess?
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? Just had a little inkling maybe by some of the things in that game. More, and I can't remember, there was a song that was name checked as well, isn't there?
Yeah. The actually the guitar texture is one of Thurston's guitars.
Is it?
So, yeah, I hope he doesn't like sue me or something.
Keep that on the down low.
It's got the remains of like his stickers and damaged bits on his guitar. But,
oh no.
yeah, I love Sonic Youth. Have done most of my life.
That's good. I just wanted to clarify. I had a feeling that was the case, but yeah, good. I'm glad to know. I'm glad to hear it. I wasn't going mad.
It's weird as well, because Silent Hill 1 actually has a bunch of Sonic Youth references in it.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I mean, not that many people pick up on it, but it's got like a Kay Gordon as one of the doctors.
Right, okay.
And there's there's a couple of other references.
Yeah.
So I was also a bit worried that people would think that was another thing I was just aping from Silent Hill. It's
like, no,
I really like
them. I should have worn my Sonic Youth t-shirt actually to do this interview, but no.
Oh. I do have a Silent Hill question.
Yes.
As well. So I'm assuming you've played most, if not all, of the Silent Hills or things like that. And my question is, what's your favourite Silent Hill game, and why is it Shattered Memories specifically for the Wii? Answer.
Shattered Memories is up there. Honestly.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
Genuinely.
She's at it again, talking about Shattered Memories for the Wii.
About bloody Shattered Memories.
The thing is, I really like that game, and I think a lot of the puzzles are actually quite fun in it, and there's a lot of like environmental exploration. I like all of the sort of replay value with the psychoanalysis and changing the environment and stuff.
Painting and such.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think it's a very good Silent Hill game, which is only because Silent Hill like 1, 2, 3, and 4 established this formula, both like in their kind of tone and vibe, but also in like the gameplay stuff. And then Shattered Memories obviously has no combat. It has those kind of mid-2000s chase sequences.
Oh god, yeah.
And more of an adventure game approach to things, which I love. It's a game that I really like. It's up there in some of my favorite games. But I don't love it as a Silent Hill game, but it's a bonus that it's kind of retelling Silent Hill 1's story. I don't know. My favorite Silent Hill game is probably Yeah, it goes between 1, 2, and 3, to be honest. So I can't say. It depends on my
So
mood.
it's not The Room, no? It's not Silent Hill The Room.
No, I like 4, but it's you're like halfway through, you end up sort of replaying the same stuff over again, and it gets a bit tedious. But
Yeah. I mean, Silent Hill for the Wii, the Shattered Memories for the Wiimote is your phone. So for me, no brainer.
I was going to say, why did you specifically say the Wii there? But
I think it's so weird when things came out on a console such as the Wii. Like, I just, the Wii was so, Wii Sports and things like that. And then Silent Hill Shattered Memories came out, and I was like, okay, let's go. And it was such a great gimmick because, like, your Wiimote was the paintbrush in particular scenes. It was the phone, so like some of the static would come across on the Wii, and you're like, oh my god. So I found that was a really great, I want to say port, but a really great utilization of the Wii, because you don't really see that in these. There's lots of peripherals that people could buy for certain games, things like that, game systems. But for the Wii, I just thought it was great. But it is a great game, but to Nave's point, it's not really a Silent Hill. It is a Sam Barlow game, yeah. Can't you tell? But I thought it was a really great game. And I actually really like Homecoming as well. So that's my other pick.
Yeah. Fair enough.
There you go, Silent Hill.
I've actually never played a Silent Hill game.
No.
Isn't that awful?
Even I played Silent Hill.
And I should. I like horror games. I think at the time they were coming out, I just wasn't as into them. And then it just took quite... After that, I was like, is it too late now? So now I think maybe I just need to play the remake.
I was going to say, maybe just play the Silent Hill 2 remake because it's getting great reviews. So
I mean, I played all the Resident Evils and stuff like that, so I love them. So I should just get into it, shouldn't I?
Just Silent Hill. Silent Hill for me.
Are you playing much at the moment, Nathan? You got anything on the go?
I just played through Far Lone Sails.
Oh, yeah.
That game?
Ooh, nice.
So good.
Great game.
Yeah.
Very atmospheric.
Yeah, I really like it. I played that and the sequel a while back, and I thought, replay them, good games. And also Planet of Lana, which released fairly recently. So yeah, cinematic platformers for some reason at the moment are my vibe. I just finished Silent Hill 2 remake, so I needed a bit of a palate cleanser, something a bit more chill.
Debrief.
Yeah. Less demonic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like indie game stuff that I'm playing at the moment as well. I don't know. I guess indie games I'm looking forward to though.
Yeah.
Sorry We're Closed looks really good.
Oh yes. I've that and that is
cool.
kind of like a sort of horror game. That's where you're sort of switching between the demonic world and reality, aren't you? I've played that. Yeah.
Yeah, super like I don't know, I just love how creative it is. I love how like you can tell every character has been like meticulously designed and they all have like a real good vibe around them, good personality. And the devs behind it are really nice.
Oh, they're lovely. It's quite funny because I kept bumping into them at like I think I went to WASD and then I might be in Gamescom or EGX, and I saw them again. I was like, hello again, and they were it was just like really lovely. And I think that's coming out quite soon as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Great.
Yeah, Vicky, are you playing anything, by the way? I should I'll ask you as well. Why not?
I am loath to admit this, but yes, and I am playing the Card Shop Simulator.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
Oh my goodness me. It's so addictive. It's ridiculous. I can't put it down. I just want to open one more pack and upgrade my shop. Like it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous game, but it's a lot of fun and but I just finished, what was the one I was saying? The Call of the Sea. I just finished that.
Yes.
Cool.
Nice
and
puzzle
that
game.
I really enjoyed. I thought that was brilliant. And very polished and really nice story. And I don't tend to go for these, what do they call it, Lovecraftian. I don't tend to go for those kind of games. But I really, really enjoyed that. I thought it was really good. So that's the ones. Laura, what have you been playing?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm probably going to... Well, I'm going to start Prim, which is like this point-and-click spooky game. And Johanna's... I remember playing the demo of it like quite a few years ago, and even then being like, "This is really polished," and I'm really looking forward to this.
It looks great.
I'm glad
really
it's
good.
it's only just recently come out, just in time for Halloween. So,
yay!
I'm looking forward to that one. I think that's going to be a really good one, and it's already got some like good reactions, so I'm very pleased about that.
Yeah, the artwork in that's amazing.
Yes,
Really nice.
it is, isn't it?
I think the dev's a teacher as well, full time, right? So he's like done it in his spare time.
Quit that now, or if he's still, because when he started out, he was like, I can't really promote it too much because I'm not really supposed to be doing this. I'm actually a teacher. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, Janice, I hope we not dropped you in anything there, but no, I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, thank you, Nathan, very much for having a chat with us all about this. I did want to ask, because I normally do ask this at the end with people, what your favourite chocolate bar is, just as a random question at the end. Do you have one? It's all right if you don't. If you're like, I don't actually eat chocolate at all, that's also fine.
Yeah, I watched your interview with Joe recently.
Yes.
And his was Snickers, right? And I thought that was kind of boring. But then in hindsight, maybe a Snickers.
Listen, I actually really like Snickers. I think I said that at the time. Do you not, Vicky? No.
Not one for me.
Yeah. What would be yours?
I like the dairy milk with jelly beans and
the Marvelous Creations.
Crackling, whatever it's called. What do they call that? Yeah, crackle. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
I've got an Easter egg as well of it.
They're top notch, them.
They are 10 out of 10. But at one point, I was buying the big slabs.
That's the problem.
The cute, like.
That's where they get you.
I've not got a problem. Everyone else has got a problem. But I kept buying them because I was like, the little ones are too small, but the big ones are too big. But now I've opened it. I've got to eat it all. There we go.
Yeah, that's
dial it down on the chocolate there, Vicky. What's yours, Laura?
Genuinely, I actually do really like those. I like Ritter Sport. The which ones? The almond honey ones and the cornflake ones. They're great. Any Ritter, to be honest, they're great. Kinder Bueno.
Oh, I like a Bueno.
Yeah, I kind of like just sort of eccentric.
What about mine?
No.
Oh god.
Nathan, are you? Have you got something in the works for next, or are you just laying low for now? And I'm sure just dealing with everything and probably quite tired and
just want a day off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it hard to take a break, to be honest, because I love making stuff, and it kind of, if I'm not busy making something, I get a bit stir crazy. So I've got ideas for the next thing, but there's loads of ideas, and I keep thinking of something, thinking that's great, and then realizing that it's going to be loads of work again, and then trying to rein it in. And so, the answer is no. I don't know what I'm doing at the moment, but something a bit more, I don't know, focused, or maybe less. Hollowbody was really detailed and quite high fidelity models for me, anyway. So maybe something like a little bit more stylized and easier to manage for a long project.
And if people want to check out your stuff, where's the? I'll put links and everything, obviously, down below. But
headwear games everywhere. That's headwear, like software for your head. Blue Sky, Twitter, YouTube. I'm hopefully going to do some more YouTube stuff soon. I've got a camera now.
Yes.
So I can do YouTube now and be a YouTube guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, if people could subscribe to me on YouTube.
Okay, yes, I will.
Would be really cool.
Subscribe to us all.
Yes, press the button down here as well. I did it.
It might light up. Sometimes on videos it lights up when somebody says subscribe. I've saw that.
Well, that's because someone's put it there, Vicky. And
I don't understand how these things work.
Now I've got to put that in, haven't I?
Oh, sorry.
I thought it was automatic.
I did.
I thought it's like AI or something.
No, it isn't. Someone's had to put it in.
Okay, well. We'll
How
stick
many
to our day
times can
job.
we say subscribe?
Oh, thank you so much, Nathan. It's been really lovely. Yeah. Subscribe. It's been really lovely having a chat with you. Is there anything else you want to mention, by the way, apart from subscribe?
No. Subscribe.
Yeah.
And support your local indie devs, I guess.
Yes. We could. I think we could definitely back that.
I think we'll be all right with that one.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed Hollowbody,
Yeah,
and looking forward to what you end up doing next.
Thank you. Yeah, cheers, guys.
Oh, thank you so much, Nathan, for chatting to us. And I'm really excited to see what he does next.
Definitely.
And much as we made a joke about it, I will be subscribing to his YouTube channel, and feel free to like this video. I am on Twitch, twitch.tv/Cressup quite a lot, playing these kind of games, sometimes with Vicky as well. Vicky, when's our next one going to be?
Oh, it depends what we're going to play.
Vicky's
depends how long you've got.
But in the meantime, do follow as well this kind of podcast series. I'll be trying to do it a little bit more frequently. I know there's been a bit of a gap in this kind of stuff, but in the meantime, you can check out that John Ingold interview as well that Vicky mentioned, because he was lovely, and it was great to hear about the new game they're making for Inkle. I can't wait for that to come out, because I loved all the stuff they've made previously. Thank you very much, Vicky. I hope you enjoyed your time. She's gonna keep coming on, by the way. This isn't like a random Vicky's just joining us. Look at that, she didn't know that was gonna happen, but yeah.
No, it was great. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you to Nate, because he was great answering all our questions and some of my silly ones. So
exactly.
I really appreciate it.
By the end of this series, Vicky's gonna have made a game.
No. If the series is 20 years long,
start small.
Maybe. Yeah, he said start small. Think of the finale and work backwards, and I'm gonna take that in, but mostly the start small, Vicky.
Yeah,
part.
and then I'll write the game FAQ for you. I'll do the Prima guide.
Oh yeah.
So there you go.
I won't pay you though.
Right. Okay. Right. Thank you very much, guys. See you next episode.